Well, thank you all for coming. If you can begin to take your seats, we're gonna get started here. Can you guys all hear the amp all the way at the back? Yeah, not bad. It sounded a little bassy. I thought maybe I'd try to take that off a little better. It's my muscular voice.
It does sound better. Yeah.
Sounds better? Good. And everybody at the back can hear? Okay.
What's that?
Can't help with that.
So, anyways, just want to thank you all for coming. I mean, I know the singers were here regardless, but thanks on my dad's side for everybody who's come to share this day with us. As you all know, Mom passed away, and at the end of the year when the roads were bad and stuff, and we had the funeral for her. It was Mom's wish to be buried, so we had to have the funeral at that time, and I know that it was too difficult for everybody to make it, so we wanted to just have a celebration of her life today with all of her family here. She would have loved being here with everybody. These things meant so much to her. So we're not going to be too formal today. We're going to share a little bit about what she's meant to us, and we're gonna leave an open mic as well for people to come up and share. Anyways, Dina's going to she's going to read again the eulogy that she read at the funeral, and so I'll hand the mic over to her.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, just touched to see all these faces here from both sides. It's awesome. Yeah, so you all know I'm Dina, I'm guessing. I don't think there's anybody here who doesn't know me, so I have to introduce myself. So, on behalf of Dad, who couldn't make it, he was going to try it for the last minute, but he died, just wasn't doing well. So, my sister Kathy and Dean, and all our kids and grandkids. Yeah, just want to say thank you, all of you, for being here and gathering with us to remember Mom and who she was to all of us. Whether it be, Mom, Auntie Flo, your sister, right? So I just want to honor her for the incredible woman that she was, because she truly was. When I think of Mom now, I feel as if I see more clearly who she was as a woman. As my mom, she was always just your mom, right? And she was always there doing mom things. And I didn't really think too much about the woman she was outside of the role that she played in my life. But in the last couple of years or so, as I could see decline in Mom's health, I started to take more time with her and just spending time with her, listening, asking questions, and kind of got more of a idea of who she was before there was us, right? So her stories and her recollections were so interesting. Sometimes we would go through her photo albums and she would explain what was happening in the pictures and talk about some of the people in her past. And I started to form a bit of a different image of who she was. She grew up in a large family, as you all know, a family of 12 siblings. She had 6 brothers and 5 sisters. She told me that when they moved to Rutland from Saskatoon in October 1942, Uncle Al didn't say anything, so I'm right, that they lived in I'll probably get corrected along the way here somewhere, that they lived in a 2-bedroom home that wasn't much more than a shack. And she said that the one bedroom that they had for the kids was shared by whatever siblings were living at home, with just a curtain through the middle, so boys on one side, girls on the other. And I can just imagine what that must have been like, the shenanigans that must have gone on. Maybe Auntie Shirley, if you were part of that, or Uncle Al, you could share about what that was like at one time.
I was the baby, so I don't remember a lot of it.
Oh, okay. You do. Okay.
I can remember because I was the oldest one.
Okay. So Uncle Ed's going to tell us about it later. He was the fly on the wall. Material-wise, the Singer family didn't have a lot, but what they lacked in that regard, they definitely more than made up for in character, grit and determination. One thing we cousins learned early on from our family reunions is that you never tell the singer they're wrong. Just like every one of Mom's brothers and sisters, she was definitely tough. She was strong physically and mentally. When I was a kid, I remember her telling me a story that I'd always found shocking but fascinating. When her and Uncle Al, I believe, and possibly another brother, were in the hills near their home, and they apparently were playing their own version of Survivor. Because she said one of them thought it would be a good idea to try cooking a chicken. Is that right? Stolen chicken. No, I knew it wasn't yours. So they killed the chicken, cleaned it out, I'm hoping, and cooked it in a rusty something or other, or God knows where you guys found that. Did you cook it or did you just throw it on a fire? I don't know. I assumed. Okay, Mom said they had a fry pan. Kathy remembers that. And basically, they just ate it right there. So, yeah, I mean, it sounds absolutely savage, but I was shocked that my mom actually did that and kind of impressed too, right? Mom left school early to start working. She wanted to start her life, and I imagine she probably needed the money too. I remember her telling me how much she enjoyed her early jobs, and it was mostly, I think, waitressing and that type of thing, but she loved the socializing that came with that. Mom was a people person, as everybody that knows her will know that, and a really hard worker. And after a few years, she joined the Canadian Air Forces, and she loved it. She trained in radar technology, and she excelled in that. In 1961, Mom became a mom for the first time when my sister Kathy was born. And years later, as fate would have it, Mom kept running into this Italian dude that she thought was so handsome, and each time in a different town. And I guess by the third or fourth time, they figured it was Providence and decided to start dating. In 1967, they were married, and shortly after, which I realized about 8 or 9 was very shortly after, I came along, and was followed a few years later by my brother Dino. In 1971, when Dad got transferred with Overweighty, we moved to Chilliwack, from Trail to Chilliwack. And as long as I can remember, I see my mom hard at work. But, I mean, when I picture her, that's kind of always what I picture her doing. I think of the summers with her never-ending canning. Every fruit and veggie as it came due had to be preserved, and supper still had to be on the table, kids cared for, house cleaned, etc. And of course, being kids, we would come in and out of the kitchen whining about something, dragging in sand, or the neighbors' kids with us, and if it was me, likely an injured or stray animal of some sort. And usually she would yell at us because, it was hot, and canning in a tiny hot kitchen's a whole lot of fun. So, but every once in a while she would, take the time and stop and help me help that little injured animal and make a little home for it and stuff. And one thing Mom had was a huge heart. As we kids got a bit older, Mom started working at the ice arena as an iceman. And the job entailed some pretty strenuous work. I was told by a few men that worked with her over the years that she could outwork most of the guys there. And that didn't surprise any of us. She was not only a hard worker, she was extremely strong. And I know she always used to mock me about how weak I was, but that's okay. She also worked for the Public Works Department, and one of her many jobs there was operating a jackhammer, if you can believe it. And I think she was in her late 40s, early 50s when she was doing that. And she's out there pounding this thing, and yeah, it was crazy. They actually had a picture of her in the paper doing it. She was also still parenting us, and that meant early morning skating, hockey practices, as well as other sports and activities that Dino was in. But because of her passion for fairness, Mom joined the local union, and in no time she became shop steward. There are a couple of fellow employees of hers from back in the day that I had spoken to not that long ago that still said to me how thankful they were, for her going to bat for them and sort of fighting for fairness and wrongs that had been done to them in the workplace. So, that just sort of another example of the type of person she was, right? They said she went above and beyond. Mom retired from the city job at 60, so she could have time to enjoy summers at the cabin in Grand Forks and spend time with her grandchildren and look after her beautiful yard, which was another one of her joys. Yeah, she loved it almost as much, I think, as she loved the grandkids. But another one of her joys in life was get-togethers with her family. I remember our childhood being full of family gatherings where there was much fun and laughing and shenanigans for sure. The get-togethers were born out of a desire for the Singer clan to be with one another. But I don't know if any of them here today realize the gift that you guys gave us all as cousins and extended by keeping us connected after all these years. So thank you for that. Our first family reunion was held right here on Uncle Frank's farm, now Benny and Peter's farm, in 1977. The brothers and sisters continued to unite every 5 years, which then changed to every 3. And we're back here again, very thankfully today. And so thankful to Uncle Frank and Auntie Jill all these years for making this place available for us. It's been so fun and such a great memory all these years. And now many thanks to Peter and Benny and your crew, and all those that helped you, and Uncle Al for keeping us kind of organized. And I'm sure it's like herding cats a lot of the time, but we're very grateful for that too. Okay, I'm sure you will. It's hard being here without Mom this time. She loved the family reunions, and I know she would have been here this year. And I know she also hoped that we would continue to keep them going. That's one thing, she would talk about, to hope that, when the first generation couldn't come anymore, that we would continue to do that, and hopefully we will. But Mom also loved spending time with Dad's Italian relatives, and some of those represent today. She cherished each one of them, and thankfully for us, she learned how to prepare some incredible meals from the Italians. We were blessed to have a mom that was a talented cook, and she loved to feed her family. When Dean was a teenager, she sent him to school with a big brown paper shopping bag because it would hold his 4 sandwiches and whatever else was in there. It was like a lot ridiculous, and I would just roll my eyes, especially because I had to make my own lunch, but baby boy didn't have to, so. One thing I can say with absolute emphasis is the incredible amount of love, care, and concern that Mom had for her family, and not just her immediate family, but her extended as well. She had that same love and care, concern for every child, grandchild, great-grandchild, all her brothers, sisters, nieces, and nephews, all you guys here today, her friends. Even those people she didn't know, if she heard of someone suffering, it was like she felt it herself. Her compassion was endless for sure, for the marginalized and the suffering. And I believe that if she could have controlled the world, that every tummy would be full and beyond full, because she wouldn't stop feeding you if you were at the table. That's a Singer and an Italian trait. And everybody would have toast, because toast goes with every meal, even Chinese food, pizza, doesn't matter, you're getting toast with it. Does anybody want toast? You're like, no, we're good, Mom, thanks. Everybody would be warm, no one would be sad. And it sounds like heaven on earth, and although our hearts ache with missing her, it is hard to fathom that we won't get to see her again in this lifetime. The silver lining is that I totally believe that she's in that heaven on earth that she wanted so badly here for everybody. So I'd just like to raise a glass. Hopefully everybody has some wine, and we can just raise a glass and toast Mom. So you may have already toasted, that's quite all right. So to Mom, to Auntie Flo, to this amazing sister, friends, we love you, and we really miss you.
I did have something written up for Mom's funeral in January. Can't find it. I'm looking on my phone.
Listen up, everyone.
Talk way louder. Okay. I'll try again. Anyway, I can't find what I had written down about Mom that I read in January. So this will be off the cuff. First of all, thank you all so much for coming.
Talk closer to the mic, Cap.
I'll try. Thank you all so much for coming. She would be thrilled to be here with all of you. I believe she's in heaven right now, having a reunion with all our loved ones that are up there. And they're all looking down, and they're a part of this with us. Couple of funny stories about Mom. When Dina was talking about Dean's lunch, it reminded me, so I was in high school. Two things. I was about 14, 15. She still insisted that I wore rubber boots to school in the rain, which of course was devastating. So I would hide them in the bush on the way to school, and then I'd stop on the way home and pick them up and wear them home, because I didn't want the wrath of my mom, she could be pretty wrathful. I didn't want that, so I would yeah, okay, just give in. And another story, she got a bag of hand-me-downs from, are any of Uncle John's kids here? I didn't see anybody. Oh, awesome. So, Uncle John's wife, Aunt Mary, had passed down a bunch of clothes to us. And I was the oldest, I got them first. And one of them was a fake green fur coat and hot pink pants. She made me wear them to school. And I was in grade 10, I think. And I was mocked so badly. That was the day that she stopped being able to force me to wear anything to school. It was like, of the two odds, I'm going to go with the wrath of Mom. I'll take that over the, what happened at school. Anyway.
And she also told you that she had more.
Oh, well, that's true. When I complained about the outfit, she said she had more taste in her little finger than I had in my whole body. That's right. I was going to say that. Dina's covered, she's summarized our mom really well. And a lot of you, I also wanted to thank, for those that did know that she had passed away, reached out by messenger and text message and phone. And I just want to thank you. It was really heartwarming to know how much she touched people and how much people cared about her. Her canning, like Dina mentioned, a funny story there, and she helped me tell it last time when I was doing this. So we couldn't resist her canning, but we weren't supposed to go get her canning without permission. But our friends loved her canning too, and it was downstairs. So I had one friend that loved her dill pickles. And I said, I'm going to be the one taking all the heat. I'm taking all the risk. If we take a jar of dill pickles, you have to drink the juice. So we have to finish it, and you have to drink the juice. And she did. She did, and then we hid the jar in my closet, and I waited till no one was around, and I went upstairs and washed it and dried it and put it back downstairs on the shelf with the empty jars. But yeah, it was, and the peaches and stuff, like all the canning, and Dina said to me that they and their friends did the same thing. None of us knew the others were doing that. But yeah, and we never got caught. No, we never got caught. So you can kind of outsmart your parents when you need to, when there's, enough incentive. Anyway, I kind of wanted to share a little bit of humor, some of the things that she made us do. And I just wanted to, again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for sharing her spirit with us. And thank you for everyone who's traveled so far. The Italians have come from a ways away. Our family has, some of them have, we've got people that have come from a long ways away. They're coming for the reunion, but I think a lot of people had said that they were coming because we were doing this. They might not have come otherwise, but because it's so far, or whatever their health, but because this was our mom's celebration, they wanted to be here. And I just want to thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Honey, love you.
I never took any canned fruit. I guess so. I guess I just didn't think to do it. I wasn't as wily as my sisters. So, you know, my mom was everything that Dina and Kathy said, and she, you know, the way she treated me growing up, she was my biggest fan. She was, you know, she was always building me up. I'm surprised I didn't make the NHL. I'm surprised I'm not a famous musician. I'm surprised that I, you know, haven't won a Nobel Prize in science, because the way she would talk to me, she'd make me think. And then as I got older, I thought, I don't know if I'm as good as I thought. Maybe what she was saying when I was younger was true, but she was such a supporter. Yeah. There's never a day that went by that I didn't feel loved. Yeah, she was very, you know, my mom and I would sometimes have differences of opinion on politics stuff, and we agreed on a lot of stuff from the labor side, but there were some political things that we had difference of, but she never ever let that get in the way of making me know that I was loved. And you know, that's a real treasure to have that from a mom, and so appreciated. I wanted to say a little bit about my dad not being here today. I've talked to him the last couple of days, and his health isn't very good. He really, you know, even up to the last few weeks, we were talking about finding a way to get him here. He's got a lot of problems with his feet. He can't stand. He kind of needs a chair to sit in that reclines, and then the whole issue of where's he going to sleep, and he needs to be close to a bathroom and easy access to a bathroom, and it was too hard. So up till yesterday we were talking. I called him again this morning, but so he unfortunately wasn't able to be here, but he really wanted to be here to see everybody. You know, I think about also my mom. You know, it's really special that we're here to be with the singer during the reunion and stuff, but there's also a side for that came from Trail, and she has so many fond memories of all of the family on my dad's side too, and you know, that would have meant so much for her to see everybody here that came from my dad's side as well. So I really appreciate that. I'm just gonna leave the mic open for a bit, and if anybody wants to say anything, you can come up and say it. This mic will also go a little ways. Yeah, not that far, but if anybody who's sitting down wants me to bring it to them, I can do that too. So we'll just leave a little bit of open mic for a few minutes, and if when it looks like it's sort of run its course there, I'll just close it off. So thanks. Okay, great. I'm going to read something from Bill Singer. He sent this to Tim and asked if this could be read. Bill Singer, my Uncle Ed's son. Very disappointed that we can't be there, but looking forward to the next one. I know it's Auntie Flo's celebration, and I wanted to say a few words. First off, our condolences to all the families. I've always loved Auntie Flo, no matter how much we disagreed about politics. and or other people's opinion of our relationship. That was our opinions and not something that would ever change my mind about our families. Wish we could be there, but work comes first. Praying everyone has a great weekend and safe travels. I'm heading off to the mill tomorrow and a few other things. But thanks, Tim. I'll leave the mic open a little bit if anybody else wants to come up and say a few words.
Gotta bring that down a little bit. Real quick, I just wanted to say, obviously everything they're saying is true about Nona, sister, friend, everybody. What I always thought was so special about her is the love she had for her own kids and her family, but when she started having grandkids, I'm sure everyone can attest to that, there is nobody in this world, next to Mom, that I always felt loved, always cared for, would go to extraordinary lengths if you weren't feeling good. I would talk to her and I'd tell her, oh, you know, I had a sniffle 3 days ago, should stand by, right? Next thing you know, she got the crate out with all the different remedies. And but as we got older and we started getting significant others and then getting married and great grandkids, that love just kept going, right? There wasn't a set amount of love she had to give out. It's just every one of our spouses and our kids, that same amount of love that she gave to her kids and then us, it started to extend, and she just, everybody that was in her life, she treated like her own kid and her own family, and we're just so blessed to have had her. Again, cheers.
Hi everyone. First of all, great to see you again. I was going to say a few words anyway on behalf of the Smith family, and also Kim has asked me to read something for her as well that she wrote for Aunt Flo. First, just wanted to say along with how great it is to see everybody here again, especially back at, great to see Auntie for sure. Back at Uncle Frank and Aunt Jill's, original location here, the farm, starting 50 years next year, 1977. Auntie Flo really was an amazing person, remarkable person. As we've often talked about, she was like a second mom to us. And we were incredibly close to the Babwins growing up. It seemed like every summer for many weeks on end, whether it was in Summerland, in a pool in the backyard, or down in Chilliwack visiting and spending time there. It really was like having a second family, and Auntie Flo was incredible. The food with her and Mom was always there. I mean, our hearts were filled and our stomachs were filled. And talk about resilience, holy cow. The Singer clan and some of the challenges that they worked through, but to be that giving and to have that kind of energy, it really was. It was so inspiring to be around, and I really see how it shaped the character of so many of us over the generations. So in terms of Aunt Flo, those are the key things that I wanted to say. This is the little mini speech that comes on her behalf if I don't get blown away. So I'm going to hold this while I'm talking. Hopefully that's okay. There we go. Auntie Flo. This is hard. Auntie Flo was like a second mom to me. As you all know, Mom and Flo were really close. And Dita and I pretty much attached at the hip as kids. Isn't that true, hey Roy? Always together at our house, or theirs. Auntie Flo had a prominent presence in my life. Shortly after we heard about Auntie Flo's passing, my son Evan came to give me a big hug and said, "Aw, I'm sorry, Mom, you've lost your biggest fan." But you see, one of the most beautiful things about Auntie Flo was that biggest fan was a role that she embraced generously and regularly. That's just who she was. But Auntie Flo was also a wee bit of a trailblazer, as you know. As we've heard, she was a member of the Canadian Air Force as a young adult. Near as I can figure, that would have been a time when female participation was capped at about 1.5% across the entire armed forces of Canada. But there she was. She was also, as noted before, a health food enthusiast. Long before the health food influencers of today. If I had a dime for every time I was encouraged to try that damn chocolate halva, never was a fan of that stuff. And Aunt Flo, she was a girl boss before that was even a thing. I recall seeing a Chilliwack newspaper article that was mentioned earlier as a child with a picture of Auntie Flo wielding a huge jackhammer. And if memory serves me correctly, I believe the article referred to it as a Jill hammer. And of course, who can forget how cool it was to tell everyone that your Aunt Flo was a Zamboni driver at the Chilliwack Arena. Yep, she did push the boundaries, that's for sure. She helped to redraw them, not as any kind of public statement, simply as a matter of interest, aptitude, determination, and perhaps at times, need. At base, Auntie Flo was strong, insightful, and kind-hearted. I've long believed that to live a hard life and to not let that make you mean is a superpower. Isn't that true? I guess that's why Auntie Flo was and always will be a bit of an icon and an inspiration to me. We'll all miss you dearly, Auntie Flo. Love, Kim. And family. Thank you.
Do you have a lineup or do I get to go next?
You go.
So, this is a story that hasn't been told before. Only me and Uncle Sergio were privy to it because I told him that I'd caught them and he didn't deny it. Actually, he was quite proud. So we're camping in the river, my mom and dad, Auntie Flo and Uncle Sergio, and they were newlyweds, and they were going to go for a swim. And they just swam out a little bit, Kettle River, and they swam downstream. And I said to Mom, I'm going to go swimming. She goes, well, you can, but you got to go upstream. Upstream? Well, I'm a pretty good swimmer. I jump in, I'm swimming along, got my goggles on, right? Just so much fun. And then, but the current, it's getting tired swimming upstream. You guys try that? Anyways, I turn around, I figured, I'm going to go downstream. So I just get down a little bit. I come around a corner a little bit, and I'm going downstream. And it's becoming harder to swim down than up. And I'm thinking, what's going on? And I kind of lift, you lift your goggles up, they're a little bit foggy. I see two people in the water. I'm young, I'm not quite sure what they're doing, right? But there's a lot of action in the water, and so much action that the current, the wave was pushing me back up. So I'm not sure if that's when Dina, you know what I mean? Our kids were Molly Plant's Corner. This was just a little bit upstream from that or whatever, right? And so I told Uncle Sergio, we're hunting quite a few years later up the North Fork, and I says, when you and Auntie Flo went for a swim that night? I said, I'm sure glad I was upstream because holy, and he goes, So I finally figured out, there's things that take years to figure out. Mom and Dad had a sign at their place that said, once a king, always a king, once a night is enough. Sergio, here's That's true. Want to hear that? Thanks, Don.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? So I'm Donnie Burke, Joe and Bill's son, Auntie Flo's favorite nephew. I started with that one because I knew there'd be a reaction. That was Aunt Flo's, one of her intangible skills, was making everybody feel that way. Her favorite thing, she has that vibe. Sorry, she made everybody feel the same way. That love just expanded. She had a time love for everybody. And she was just an incredible woman, beautiful lady. Our family sends their love to my mom, dad, they're probably hanging out right now. have one little story back to the picture that reminded me of when she was driving the Zamboni in Chilliwack. And I played hockey, senior hockey in Vancouver. We went up for a tournament. I didn't know what was working. And they, we're all chomping at the bit to get on the ice, and she's going around. But I thought I'd play a practical joke on the guy. Just said, what's up with the lady on the Zamboni? I'm not doing a very good job. Right? Can you hear me now? I'm not very good at this. But anyway, so I started chirping the boys and saying, I can't wait till she do stop. I'm gonna go tell her how bad a job she did, right? And they're going, don't be silly, don't be silly. You know how you gotta get the Zamboni off, shovel the snow off, and then you can go on the ice. That's the rule. I said, no, I'm not waiting. I'm going down there. And the boys are trying to hold me back. I jumped skated down there. I wasn't sweaty at that time, so it was okay. Auntie Flo, how are you? Oh my God, it's a big hug. I helped them shovel the snow off, and everybody just go, what's going on here? So it was funny, but yeah. Condolences to the whole family. She'll be missed hugely. Love Auntie Flo.
Hi everybody, my name's Al Singer, just a little bit younger than Flo. She was the last one born in Saskatchewan, I was the first one born in BC. So we were quite close, she's a year and a half older as I said, but Flo was a very frank person and very honest. And when I was about 8 and she was 9.5, we would wrestle or something, like I had no a year and a half in those days. Oh, we know when you're young. There was no hope. But she was so honest. She would say, Alphonse or Avi. In those days, my name was Avi. She would say, I know that in a year and a half or two, you'll start beating me up, and I'll never get to beat you up again. Well, of course, that's what happened. So, but I kind of thought, are you kidding me? She's so damn strong. But I don't know. Yeah, a couple years later, yeah, she had no chance. But anyway, well, it's like with every. So anyway, Flo joined the Air Force just before me, being a little bit older. But anyway, so when in '61 I joined the Air Force, and I was in it for 3 years. And like I say, she was in radar and I was in telecom, fixing stuff in the control tower and all that crap, which I hated. But anyway, but after I got out of the Air Force, my mom and dad died while I was there, same year in '63. I moved in with Flo in Trail in the Gulf. Well, first my brother Ray, but shortly after I was living with Flo and her family and Kathy in the Gulch in the Trail, and underneath the living room I would hear this rumbling, and I said, what the hell is that? Oh, that's just the rocks rolling down the creek. I said, under the house? Yeah, that's what it was. It was a big concrete thing. The house was built right over it, and you could hear the rocks rolling down right under your feet as you're watching TV and everything. But anyway, so Kathy was just, I don't know, about 3 then, I can't remember, but not very old. And so one day Kathy comes home, and her hair is all cut in chunks, like their friend got, and she comes in the house and blows. She says, "Mommy, I got my hair just like I always wanted it." Oh, God.
My mom was a hairdresser.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, another thing about Flo's honesty. When we used to, tell jokes and stuff, and but you gotta get sort of into the habit of not putting enough filter in the way you talk. So you're putting down people, you're not meaning to, but it comes out that way. So right here, about where Peter was standing, Flo said to me one day, she said, "Al, why do you do that?" I said, "What?" I said, "Why do you put people down like that?" I said, "I'm only joking." She says, "No, you might be joking, but people take that pretty hard. Anyway. I never forgot it. And I've tried to be, I don't do that often. I still tell jokes and stuff, but I try not to put people down. She made an impression. Oh, so then one day she gives me a call. She says, Al. I said, what? She says, I want you to MC Dina and Rob's wedding. I said, what? The hell did I know about that? Anyway, she talked me into it. My minister next door to us, I got him involved. So, and then Flo sent me a big book on all that stuff. And I did that thing about everybody giving these guys keys and say you got to return the keys, all the keys to your apartment. Oh, anyway, all that kind of stuff. But that was the first, and after that, I've been doing a lot of eulogies and stuff like that. And people know I like to talk, so shutting up is not my big thing. Oh yeah, yeah. Anyway, the other thing she called me surprised the heck out of me, because I was a welder for 40 years, but this was probably after 30 years of welding. She calls me up, I come down to Chilliwack and teach you to weld. I said, you're a little old for that now, aren't you? She said, no, I'm working for the city, and I got to do some welding. I want you to come teach me to weld. Yeah, and she was serious. I went down there, and she was a good student. Learning how to weld, and that really shocked me, and then to find out she was doing the Zamboni thing and the jackhammering, I didn't know about. But anyway, okay. Basically, it's about them. As you obviously know, we broke up about that. I was devastated when I heard about it. But so just leaving that aside for a minute, I can't tell you how much I appreciate all the work Dino and family have done, and Peter and Vendela and their family getting this all ready. Like Peter dug a ditch from way up at the house down, I don't know, 150 feet or something, by shovel, by hand. Like I thought he did a tractor with it. He did it all by hand. And then, you know, him and Christopher, they got the thing up. And yesterday, Stephen and him, hours building that shower that I thought was just going to be a half-hour job. Yeah, right? Got 2 doors in there and everything else. And then a little while later, I said, where are the tents? He said, oh, we got to go get them now. So that's why they were put up last night. And maybe this morning too, I don't know. But anyhow, but the work they've done and the organized getting the tent, but the whole thing is quite amazing. And so, needless to say, I'll be coming around collecting money from people. Yeah, it's gonna be paid for. My son Tim alone is paying for those bathrooms, which is $450 cash. So, but anyway, I just want to say thank you everyone for coming. Really appreciate it. Love you all. Thank you.
Okay, that's good. The unique distinction I've always had with Aunt Flo was we moved to BC when I was about just before I turned 4, 3 years, 10 months, whatever. Previously, we had lived in the Maritimes with my dad's side of the family. So I was told as we were coming out here, well, you're going to meet all Mom's relatives. But Aunt Flo had come out when I was between 1 and 2 years old to visit Mom where we used to live. So when we did get here, I actually recognized her and remembered her, and she was like my connection between my dad's family back east and moving here, the only sort of bridge between that move. So we always had that. I don't think anybody even knows that, but was the only relative here that I recognized from before. One other quick story: Ryan and Melina's wedding at the Sycamoose in Penticton. I had gone outside to get some fresh air, and Aunt Flo was out there, and there was like 4 guys standing around her, 15, 16. I didn't recognize them. I thought, well, what the hell is that all about? So I start walking over closer, and I hear the one kid go, "Yeah, there's 4 of us and 1 of you. Are you scared?" So I don't know if they had intentions of robbing her or what, but she just turned to the kid that said that and goes, "No, why, should I be?" And she looks him in the eye, and you should have seen this kid wilt. Him and his 4 buddies, they just turned around and they were gone, because I was in the middle of looking around. I was making my way over there, and I could hear what was going on, and looking to wave other people over, like, but yeah, she just, "So are you scared?" "No, why, should I be?" And this kid's just staring him in the eye. But yeah, that was her, as far as not the singer's not taking any crap. But we didn't even need Uncle John, though.
I'll try to make this quick because I think most of it's been said. I'm Rory from the Smith side. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Sound like a commercial? Anyhow, Rory from the Smith side. We were very fortunate. We were young because Mom, Uncle Al, Aunt Flo were all so close in age that we spent so much time together. And every summer we were blessed. You know, Kathy would come up. Sometimes Dina, we were blessed. Some days better than others. But we always had fun, and we got to know each other. And as a kid, going up the North Fork and going hunting and fishing and doing all those things. And Aunt Flo was always the kindest person. Even in recent years, when I was down for training, I'd stop in all the time and see her and Uncle Serge. And, you know, they were always warming and welcome. It was always just great to know that you had relatives there. And I still remember some life lessons from Aunt Flo. God, I must have been, I don't know, maybe 12. And I had a pellet gun, and Uncle Serge and I were pretty close because of the hunting and fishing and everything. And he bet me $5 I couldn't shoot this bird out of a tree. Well, back then, $5 is like 50 now, right? It's like, yeah, one shot, and I put it out of the tree, and Aunt Flo come walking around the corner. Oh my God, it was the wrath of God, right? I never forgot that lesson. Maybe that's something to do what I do for a career now, I don't know. But yeah, she was very special. And I think the other one that always impressed me was that old Cutlass that Flo and Serge had. I never saw anybody that could pack a trunk like Aunt Flo could. That car would be going down the road like this, and there would be every suitcase and hairdryer and brush and whatever they could imagine. She would get it in that bloody car, right? She had to be the most organized person I ever saw. But it was funny, some of those traits as I got older, I'd be packing this and organizing this. And Dad and Uncle Serge started calling me Flory. Anyhow, love Aunt Flo, love you guys. I'm so glad everybody could make it. Take care.
Hello everyone. I'm Carson, son of Dina, daughter of Flo. I just wanted to echo a lot of the love that was being sent out towards her, and I thought Evan saying to Kim there that lost her biggest fan was similar, because we had always said she's the head of the Carson fan club, and told Sierra she'd have to take over that role. And her love just extended to everyone too. She was a grandmother to Sierra, and probably even to this bastard hornet at my face. Unless your name was Donald or Putin, she loved you. And she didn't like hornet, yeah, fair enough. Then I was also thinking about Flory and how we now lovingly refer to my mom's habits as Floisms. She was a lovely lady. I was very lucky to have been able to spend so much time with her. I lived with her for a bit after high school. And yeah, I just wanted to echo a lot of the love that was being sent out to her. She was a fantastic woman, and I miss my friend.
Is this good? Okay, I'm Steve. I'm the youngest first cousin. Oh shit. I spent not a lot of time, but some time in the basement of Uncle Sergio and Auntie Flo's house. Dino and Pam's wedding was down there, so was Rob and Dina's and whatnot. And Auntie Flo always said, "Be nice to little Steven." And I still remember when my dad had to go down and teach her welding. I remember the phone call. I was actually sitting beside you, and you got off the phone, and you said to me, "You got to go teach Auntie Flo how to weld." And 10 years later, I went into welding and blah blah blah. But anyways, she was such an awesome lady, and we miss her. And yeah. Cheers to Auntie Flo.
Cheers.
See a lot of you all dressed up real nice, and so I started thinking, well, should I put something a little nicer on? But I figured she probably would love these shorts. You know, it makes me think of any of you that have been in her bedroom. It's just like it's Hawaii. It's painted Hawaii on the walls. Never seen anything like it. Her waterbed in there. You sleep in there as a kid, and just transport you to a tropical paradise. And that was, you know, nobody really talked too much about her garden and her yard. You know, to me, looking at that, just immaculate as a kid. Just most beautiful little glade she had back there, and remember going over to the yard, and she's sitting on her little roll cart with a knife, one weed at a time, digging them out. Yeah, a fork. So yeah, the attention to detail and the love of the garden, and you go over there, and as a kid, you're like, oh, I want to eat Ritz crackers and whatever junk food you got. But as you get older, you start to really appreciate all the work that goes in, and all the the nutrition. It's good for the soul, you know. So yeah, we all miss Nona. We love her dearly.
Hello, my name's Acacia. I'm daughter of Dean. A lot of great things have been said about Nona already, but I just wanted to bring up how humble she was and how she thought so much of everyone else, but she never really took time to think about herself. And last year, spring or whatever, I was driving her to some appointments, and she just made it seem like it was the most selfless thing I could do. Like I gave up going to some concert or some trip just to drive her to something, and she does or did so much for everyone, and just had such a hard time accepting when someone would do something for her that you do for family, that you do for someone you love. And we all obviously felt her love so much. I remember she had like her calendar, and she had everybody's birthdays. She had the spouses of her grandkids and her kids and everybody. She had her great grandkids, and she just, the highlight of her life was being with her family. And I feel like it didn't seem like much at the time, but it was her highlight. It was what she looked forward to, and I'm so glad looking back that she made it to every single thing she could, and we had all those memories with her, and she got to meet a number of her great-grandchildren, and she was so proud of all her kids and her grandkids and her great-grandkids and nieces and nephews and everyone, and it just meant so much to her. And yeah, I'll just always hold on to how loved everybody was. And I remember a few of our family celebrations and weddings and how she was so excited to be there, and how at a few of them she'd get up and dance. And we have a video of her at Joel's, and she was just so happy and just like a kid, like dancing around with all of us, and that's how I'm gonna remember her. So cheers to Nona.
Hello, I'm Jade, daughter of Kathy. I spoke at Nona's funeral, so I wanted to give everyone else a chance, but I had a few things that I wanted to say that I said before. But the first was just, she had a hot tub. Again, she didn't use it, it was just for us. And now that I'm an adult, everyone that I know that has a hot tub is like, it is the worst. Taking care of that sucks. And she kept that for years, knowing that we would come over sometimes and get to use it, which was just, everything she did was for her kids and for her grandkids. And yeah, she would, like, again, sickness, health, like I have a lot of chronic health issues. She'd always be messaging me like, you need to take this supplement. And then I'd go to a doctor and they'd be like, have you been taking this supplement? And I'd be like, you're not gonna believe this, actually, I already am. My grandma told me to do that already. And she also, like, she would message me all the time, are you still in school? Yeah, no, I'm still in school. She's like, when are you gonna be done? When are you gonna be done? I think she messaged me probably like once a month being like, are you done yet? I'm still not done. But it was just, she'd always be like, oh, I'm proud of you and just keep going and eventually you'll be done. And also, all the kids used to come over and always want candy. And I guess I wasn't into it. I really wanted olives. So all the kids, she'd have the gumballs for the kids. The kids would come over and I'd come over and she'd crack open a can of black olives and just give me the whole can. And I'd sit there and I'd eat the whole thing and I'd be so excited that I get to go to Nona's and eat olives. And it's just so special, and I have so many wonderful memories of her and just what an amazing person she was. So I just wanted to share. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Joe and Bill Burke's daughter. So my mom's second oldest of the 12, and so had Auntie Flo in my life for a very long time. One thing I'm surprised that never got mentioned here, which I always felt was like this secret treasure trust, and that was her blue cosmetic case. Who remembers that, eh? And she would come and visit, and like we were in a house of 6 of us with one bathroom, and she'd come visit and she'd be in the bathroom forever. And you'd be like, Auntie Flo, hurry up. But she'd take this case in there, and it was always such a mystery, right? And she'd come out, and to me she never looked that much different because she was always so beautiful. And one thing that Auntie Flo and I really shared was our involvement in the union and supporting the labor movement and the underdog and people that needed to be lifted up. And so anytime we got together, we'd sort of go off and have our little chats about that. And she always gave me so much support for advancing in my union, and I just so much appreciated that. And I'm just going to miss her so much. She was just such a lovely, lovely, lovely woman. Thank you.
Well, I guess I'll just close it off. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. I always think it's such a shame that you come to a funeral and all these wonderful things are said about this person, and I just wish she could have heard this when she's alive. It's always a regret. Yeah. Oh, I just wish we could do it for people while they're alive. Just have a. This is the only time we seem to say such nice things about people. Is after they're gone, we don't like say it to them when they're alive. Uncle Al, you got your hand up?
I've been to two celebrations of life where people are still alive.
Oh, that's how we should do it.
Yeah, then they died shortly after.
Yeah.
She was there, actually.
So I just want to thank everybody that came and made this a special time, and just everybody who shared special times. I'm sure that there's everybody else, everybody has special feelings as well, and sometimes it's hard to get up to a mic and it's hard to get up and share. So, but I thank you for the feelings you have in your heart. Tim, you want to say something else?
Enough has been said about Auntie Flo, and I don't want to cry. So for all the aunts and uncles who started this, we're down over half. And I know a lot of people, I'm 57, and I don't know any single family that does anything like this to this scale, and never the longevity. So I will keep this going. Hopefully everyone will be here next time and more. And I just want to thank Dad for being a huge part of this since the 70s. Always taking those photos and everyone whining and bitching how long it was taking. Because it sucked. But now you look back at those things, and what if we didn't have those? And Dad took the fucking heat for that. He did it for the family. So did Auntie Flo, so did Auntie Lil, so did all the aunts and uncles, and they all came and forced the kids to come. No one else has this. You don't know. Even Uncle Leo was here, for Christ's sake. Right? It's special, and not many families have that. So thank you, Dad, for organizing again. And for Peter and Benny and Chris. Chris is always the unsung hero doing all this work. He does it because he loves to do it. And he shows up in the daytime, and then I drink too much and he fucks off. So. Anyways, I just want to thank everyone for coming, and thank you very much, Dad, for doing all the organization. And a special thanks to Auntie Flo for everything she did.
Yeah. Thanks, Tim, for mentioning that. Yeah, we really do appreciate what Peter and Vendela have done here and put on, and all the work Uncle Al does. We all know that Uncle Al, the work that he does behind the scenes, and the planning he does, and the rawing he does to get us all here. So thank you, Uncle Al, for sure. So we're gonna wind it up now. There's a bunch of crackers and grapes and what else you got there, Dina? Cheese.
Stuff to soak up the wine.
Stuff to soak up the wine. We got a slideshow that we showed at the memorial in back in January. It's on YouTube if anybody wants the link. I might put it on the Singer Family Union page so people can have access to that. So anyways, thank you all for coming, and really appreciate everything.
Well, I know especially like Oh, should have mentioned this. Is this too late? Okay, yeah. And a few things left, cards left.
Where's the cheese?
Connor went to get it. And no, like, doubting. And what was it?
One more thing, if you haven't signed the guest book, or not the guest book, whatever they call these things, what is it? What's the name of it? The book that you showed up? Guest book, I guess. I don't know if it's called that for a funeral. Anyway, if you can sign that, it'd be appreciated. And there's some memorial cards here as well, if anybody wants to take some that were left over from the funeral.
Christmas. When I graduated, you know, like,
Sandy and I have talked about doing another one.
They got more stuff coming there.
She's talking to Jesus, so she'd be a good one. I mean, I'm on there, she's on there. And we've been talking about how we should do another one. Yeah.